A wealthy Texas teenager named Ethan Couch received only 10 years of probation after he stole liquor from a Walmart, packed 7 passengers in his Ford truck, and then proceeded to drive drunk with his alcohol level 3 times the legal limit. As a result of that, he crashed into some pedestrians, killing 4 and severely injuring 2 of the passengers in his vehicle. Now, this incident happened last June. He stood trial where he pleaded guilty to this. However, even though prosecutors were asking for the maximum sentence, which was 20 years in prison, it turns out that he has only been sentenced to 10 years of probation. And the part of this that makes people particularly upset is the defense stated that the reason why he should have a lenient sentence is because he is a victim of something known as affluenza. Okay, he is so wealthy and he has gotten away with so much from his parents that he doesn't really know what the consequences are for his actions, and as a result he couldn't really expect any consequences for his actions.
So, first of all, there is no such thing as affluenza. It's 100% made up. Second of all, it is the most ironic thing in the world to say, well, this kid doesn't know the consequences of his actions, so let's make sure that we keep that going by not giving any consequences to his actions even after he killed 4 people. Now, look, let me tell you about the people who died in this situation. They were going to help another person whose SUV had broken down. So they were good Samaritans. One of them was a youth pastor who saw that the car had broken down and stopped his car to go help them. Dead, okay? Well, you know, at least they didn't suffer from affluenza. You know, if you're a middle class person, you get run over in the middle of the street, you're just as dead, okay? Sorry, okay? And
so let me explain how this even came up by the defense. So the defense actually called up a psychologist to testify about this condition. And
my ass.
So the psychologist that took the stand was psychologist G. Dick Miller, and he said that affluenza is a condition in which his family felt that wealth brought privilege and there was no rational link between behavior and consequences.
Well, God damn it, let's give him a rational link. Say, here's your behavior, now here's some consequences. 20 years. They said, well, he didn't have any boundaries. Well, here's some new boundaries for you, your jail cell, right? But no, he gets away with it again. And I'll tell you why, right? It's because, you know, judges are in the same social circles as the people who suffer from affluenza. Not to say that judges are inordinately rich, they're not, right? But they went to law school, they know the lawyers, they know the same group of people. They don't know that pastor on the side of the road. They know these guys. And they go, oh man, there, but for the grace of God goes my kid, right? Mm-hmm. That maybe the poor kid that came into the court before, he's guilty. He's got to know the consequences of his actions. But that rich kid, that looks like my kid. Say, well, I feel so bad for him. It's not his fault, it's his parents' fault. By the way, are we arresting the parents? Okay, if it's the parents' fault, where are they? Are we arresting them? No, of course not, right? They're all free to go as well. And so they feel like, well, that's my social circle. I empathize with. They don't mean it in a bad way. Mm-hmm. Don't misunderstand me. They feel like, well, that looks like me, that feels like me. That's the kind of person I would be, right? And so they say, well, what am I going to do? I wouldn't want to send my own son to jail for 20 years. Now, and I don't know what the right sentence should have been here. But it ain't 10 years of probation.
Okay.
Just probation and you're free to go.
So let me jump in because there are important details that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. So he has not been released to his parents, okay? He will be going through a treatment program to rehabilitate him. And look, I don't want to be a hypocrite, okay? The real problem here is that there is a two-tier justice system. So if you are from a particular socioeconomic status, if you do not have the wealth to purchase the services of an extremely good lawyer, you are not going to be treated the way that this 16-year-old was treated, okay? You are going to have some time behind bars as a result of your actions. You're going to face the consequences.
I got to jump in on 2 things there. Okay, so number 1, that's a great point by Anna. Don't lose track of that. That's probably the most important point. Now, if you're poor, you think your public defendant that they assign to you is going to come up with affluenza and he's going to find a psychiatrist, psychologist that he pays enough money to come up to give that kind of BS on a stand? No, you're not going to get the affluenza treatment, right? Oh, by the way, if you're poor, you can come up with, you know, what some psychologists are calling poor pox. Well, my parents, they both had to work, or my mom was a single mother, so they weren't there to influence me and tell me the consequence of my actions. Well, I have poor pox. Yeah, good luck. Try that with a court and see how that works, okay?
Right, exactly.
So you
So
don't
there's a
have the
double
luxury
standard
of being
there.
able to get away with it by hiring this team of psychiatrists and lawyers.
Yeah, so I think the real problem is that people are treated differently based on their socioeconomic status. However, I don't think that the idea of focusing on rehabilitation as opposed to incarcerating people is necessarily a bad idea. I just hate that he was treated a certain way because he's so wealthy and because his family is so wealthy. So another thing, it's going to cost about $500,000, or I should be specific, $450,000 for this 10-year treatment program. The father is going to pay for that treatment program. It's really unclear as to whether or not he's going to have any communication with his family. Some reports indicate that he's not going to.
They say
but-
for 1 or 2 years in
yeah,
some of the reports.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But again, it just kind of goes back to how flawed our justice system really is. I like the idea of rehabilitating people, and he's 16. He did something terrible. He killed 4 people. I don't know what the appropriate sentence is. I just know that it would be different if this was some poor 16-year-old kid who did the exact same thing. He stole. Okay, he drove while he was drunk. He had 7 people in the vehicle. And one fact that I have to share with you guys, 2 people riding in the bed of the teen's pickup were severely injured. In fact, one of them has brain damage and cannot move on his own.
Can't move or talk because
Yeah.
of brain injury. So that kid, that's that, right? And then another kid had internal injuries and broken bones, etc. Now look, I don't want to demonize the kid. He's 16 years old. I don't know what was going on in his head. I don't know what was in his heart. I'm not even claiming what the appropriate punishment should be. It's the defense that drives me
Exactly.
crazy. Because and the hypocrisy and unfortunately the 2 Americas that we have now, right? The people denying that there are 2 Americas. Are you kidding me, man? Poor kid walks in. First of all, on stealing from Walmart alone, how many years would he have gotten? You're telling me they're going to give him probation after stealing from Walmart? Then his blood alcohol level is 0.24, 3 times the legal limit. How many years would he have gotten for that? Let alone the 4 people who are dead. You tell me a poor kid walks in and he gets the same sentence, you're crazy. Nobody believes that. I don't care how right-wing you are, whatever your politics is, whatever, you don't believe that. You know that's not the case. You know he walked because he's rich, and the greatest irony is they even dared to use that as the defense
And
that, hey, he's rich, so he gets away with everything, so you shouldn't hold him responsible, so he can get away with this too. And God damn it, it worked. It worked. There's no justice, man. There's no justice. So don't take it out on the kid. He is what he is, right? That isn't the issue. The issue is the justice system. Affluenza. Fuck you.
Okay, let's move on to an update on a story we did yesterday. So